excited to see Bolo back. Literally almost any other circumstance would have been better for him to show up. So with that said, all the best to Merc. Our sincerest condolences. And nothing but love going his way. If you have not taken the time to either tag him, what do they call it now, on Twitter? Contact him in some way and just extend your condolences. I can speak from experience and say that an outpouring of love really does make a big difference. So if you, the viewer, were to do the same, I know it would probably mean something to him. With that said, under, of course, that cloud that hangs over this matchup, there is a major spot on the line. DarkZero versus Wildcard fighting for the last spot available through the North American League. We'll start the operator bans here on bank map number 1.
Things start off in a pretty normal fashion. So operator bans, the floor is the only really kind of question mark coming out here. And you know, soft destruction, chaos utility, and it's an operator that attackers can just use to simplify processes that normally can be troublesome. You know, you only get 2 grenades or 2 soft breaches like Ash or Sophia. With Flourish, you get basically double it. You get 4 Terror drones to deal with those issues. The desk kind of spoke out the maps as well. You know, when you're playing with a sub player like Wildcard is currently with Bolo, going to maps that are complicated is always going to be a great thing. So I think DC starting a map that is a relatively large map is a great place for them to go first. But that second map of Oregon, I'm like, it's a map that anyone can play. Whether Bolo's been out for a little bit or not, he knows his way around that map. We'll start things off on bank first, of course. DC starts on defense and Wildcard on the attack.
Well, this was a map that was played yesterday by Wildcard. For those of you that need a refresher, and of course, there will be some spoilers as we reference these maps. M80 and Wildcard tussled on this map, and it was a map picked by M80. Despite that, Wildcard still put on quite an impressive showing, most particularly in the second half. The M80 Wildcard matchup went all 12 rounds. It was a defender-sided map for the most part, but only slightly so. Wildcard lost it by a score of 5-7. But still, against an M80 team, Wildcard were able to stay competitive. I will say that there were a litany of mistakes committed by M80 yesterday on this map. The big one that you and I, well, actually, it was Demo and I talking about it. The one that we kept referencing was Kino on the Monty. Yeah. Being relatively ineffective round through round through round. Spirits loves the Monty, so Wildcard being on attack first, they're going to bring out the Mountain. I don't know if DZ are going to bring a shield operator on their foray onto attack, but let's get through the first half first. And with this very first defense from DZ, no real surprise to see a dramatic extension upstairs. Rice might be the first one on DZ to get punished. It is a rare server or Teller's Archives defense, which is not something we see every day.
It's not, but it forces the attack to problem solve a very big portion of the map. You know, you gotta worry about the top floor, the basement staircases, the primary floor as well. So I like the fact they bring Monty for this. It's gonna force Rice into an uncomfortable position here. Move too much, you get shot, but Monty can also hit fire you down. It's a tough spot for Rice to be in. Oh.
Rice engaging, Gavin down. He's caught by Packer. Great entry from Wildcard so far. Now Spirits will continue to lurch forward. Panbazoo is the star player for DZ that we reference quite often. E and NJR can put up points all over the place for this team. Packer dies, and the advantage that Wildcard had in terms of numbers is down by 1, but they've got time left to play with.
Big thing to look out for here is, of course, Wildcard missing Merc and one of their IGL, their big experienced players. Bolo sure got experience, but not typically the leader of this team or a big voice for it. Playing that iconic Ash operator, do self-destruction towards the bomb site itself, and this pushes Darks into a very hard spot to deal with. The ceiling above you keeps disappearing, Monty's yellow pinging you, you have nowhere to go, and if time keeps burning down like this and DC keep falling backwards, then Wildcard can just walk on in. Spirits or Adam just plant down that diffuser, because look at this, Monty can block the door and there's no way in for DarkZero.
Adam waiting. It was a 21 kills he dropped on Border yesterday, all for naught. That same level of performance, absolutely keeping his team competitive on its own, but he dies to Canadian. Canadian might not have the greatest shot in the game, but he makes those shots count. Now it's just Surf and Bolo remaining for Wildcard as Panbazoo is off the board.
Attackers have
Two
recovered
remaining
their
players from
defuse.
DZ, both with a
15
kill to their
seconds
name,
left.
looking for one more apiece each.
10 seconds
As
left.
there goes the plant by Surf, by the copier. Bolo needs to cover. He takes down Canadian. He's just so goddamn good. It doesn't matter if he's taken a year off. The final 2 kills are none other than Jason's. And round number 1 goes to Wildcard.
You can see the nerves there from Bolo, though, right? Like he was very hesitant that round, didn't really get into any like gunfights, didn't take any risks. But when it came down to it, he had to just cover the plant there. And I will say, Wildcard made that round a lot more difficult than what it should have been for them, because surely Spirits and the Monty can just pick up the diffuser and start planting way earlier in that 4 versus 2. But instead, it goes all the way down to a 2 versus 1 instead. You know, with not much time left in the clock either. So it looked like a done deal relatively early on, but then Wildcard again, that late round, those small details not really lining up, but it doesn't matter. The bomb set of Archives Tellers, the reason why we don't see it very often is because the bomb set itself isn't super playable. That's what we just witnessed right there. Vertical destruction above, you walk in from lobby, and there's just not much you can do about it as a defending team. You have to kind of live on the roam and try and find those early opening duels, but when you lose those engagements like we saw from DarkZero, you tend to struggle. The thing about Bank and the fact that DC can play, you know, that 4th bomb site is that their bomb site rotation is a lot more, or sorry, a lot harder to predict. And attacking against that means you gotta bring that extra prep work. Say, okay, we gotta deal with the stable 3, the basement, the top floor of CO, and open area. But all of a sudden, you also gotta deal and prepare for the 4th bomb site that most teams don't tend to bring. Wildcard, given the fact of how new that bomb site is in pro play, did a pretty good job for their first round here.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I think the general consensus would be it's harder to adapt on attack, because if there are specific set strats, Bolo will not know them. On defense, I think there's an ebb and flow of most maps where you can put Bolo in a particular position or have him roam and hold a certain spot, and he'll do well. I mean, on Bank, the one part that always comes to mind with Bolo is when he would hang out by the stock trading room, and there would be the deployable shield looking towards square stairs against the double panel.
Yeah.
That was Bolo's spot on TSM, and this is a very comfortable map for him where that 2nd floor will be defended on almost every single bomb site. One caveat might be the downstairs bomb site, which is where DarkZero is defending now. Wildcard have already taken top floor control, pushed off whatever from DZ was up there. Now, main floor is their focus. This is the exact same predicament Wildcard put DarkZero in last round. Get the first 2 picks, have a big numbers advantage, and have plenty of time still to go. This is 2 for 2 for Wildcard, having an excellent start to this map.
Also the same issue DC had yesterday, right? Those opening engagements just not really going in their favor. Pambo's having a hard time, and Gavin also with that. DC down to just 2 members. Canadians on their own, because this is such a hard round to win that playing on site's not gonna work out. But Wildcard, they got the read, they got Yellow Pinks, and know that something is up and something's not quite right in this area of the map.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Canadian is he's the X factor. Or the Twitter factor. Canadian can't buy a kill. Through the wall, punished by Spirits. NJR, the one man to stand against the Horde. What's getting accomplished? 45 seconds to go, droned out. Terrible predicament for him, Nick.
Oh yeah.
Time just ticking away, but Wildcard can throw bodies at the problem. What can NJR do? There goes one of the Goyo canisters, patrolling the hatch. A flawless round for Wildcard. Goodbye, NJR.
Is this you in 20 years still casting Siege, or
That's me if I had a semi-transatlantic accent. Casting on radio.
on
was
radio
me.
specifically?
That round was
That's
so
great.
over, man. That
No, it
round
was so- it was.
over. What was the point? What is the point of giving it the good old college try and actually casting it with sincerity when NJR is just gonna get absolutely slaughtered?
The honest truth right
You're
there.
playing basement Bank with hatches open, walls open, no utility in an SMG-11. You're gonna get 1 to 2 kills at most, then you're gonna get mopped. You didn't even get 1 kill. There's no point. Listen, I'm gonna talk to the audience right now for a second here. Audience, listen to me. Hi. Interrobang here. I respect you. I respect your intelligence. I'm not going to lie to you and try to make it seem like it's a more competitive round than it is. So I hope that my previous
10 seconds
cast
left.
of leveling with you and giving it the energy that a hopeless situation
5
for
seconds
DZ
insertion.
warranted was acceptable. Thank you very much.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
I'll speak out of the chat and say, you know what? You're all right, Parker. You're all right. You're forgiven.
Did you? I don't know if you listened to any of my cast with your cohort
demo?
Fabian the other day.
Oh, Fabian.
Bobby and I casted the Virtus Pro Wolves match for EUL, and it was great. Honestly, I gotta say, like, I'm never gonna compare you and him, obviously, as talent, but given the fact that he and I have only ever worked together once, and that was for like a North American Challenger League that I did for my apartment in Poland in 2017. He's not a caster,
Attacker's bomb diffuser has been
and we
dropped.
were remote. I thought he did an exceptionally good job, but I couldn't help but chuckle because somebody sent me a screenshot afterwards where he and I were just like roasting the ever-living hell out of each other
Attackers recovered the bomb
at one point, and he roasted you too, which I know you saw. But
Oh, yeah.
we were roasting each other, and somebody sent me a screenshot, and it was just like, casters need to focus on the game. It's like we're 20 seconds into the prep phase. What the hell do you want me to talk about? Shut up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The time and the place. No, I heard a couple rounds, but not. I want to go back and watch the full thing. To be fair.
That was okay. We had one round of tech issues, but that was it. Surf with the leadoff kill, Wildcard. Getting first blood all 3 rounds. Not just first blood all 3 rounds, but they've actually gotten the first 2 picks all 3 rounds. Not just 1, but 2. DZ's Rome has been absolutely impotent. Now, this looks more like round 1 than round 2. Mostly because round 2, DZ didn't get a single kill. But in round number 1, there was an early pick from Wildcard, followed by another. DZ answered back with 2 of their own, equalizing the numbers. That's exactly where we find ourselves now. If it does emulate round number 1, Nick, that doesn't necessarily bode well for DarkZero because DarkZero has yet to win a round.
Bit of a standoff in lobby between Bolo and Canadian. It's kind of waiting for make the first move. The intel is there. Bolo's reloading, unfortunately for him, but Canadian now is going to be stuck inside of Taylor's archives portion of the map and has to either fight his way out of it, just simply stay there. Spirits on the Munch, of course, could go down there and push him out of his position and duo up with Bolo for the kill. Looks to be the case. Find those isolated defenders, get that number ever so more in your favor, and then slowly approach the bomb site afterwards. Oh yeah, Canadian, you
is
gotta clutch
still
it up.
running. Lobs this position. Canadian out dueling Bolo now. Spirits charging in at him, trying to keep the Monty at bay, but it's a fight for the ages. Spirits, health just, winnowed down, but still standing. Now accompanying Adam towards this open area bomb site. Not a lot of time left. And there's no hard destruction. There's 3 smokes on the board, however, so they can conceal their advancement, though the Monty will make an awful lot of noise in the process. That smoke a bit overthrown. That might give NJR an opportunity to see Adam, and indeed, that's what happens. Gavin and NJR work together from their positions, and they get DZ's first round.
Bit of a shame that we didn't get to see exactly how DarkZero found those 2 kills to make it back to a 3v3 after suffering those 2 early deaths in the round, because I just want to see if Wildcard, they were the ones to make a mistake and overstep their welcome, or whether DXC actually made a proactive play, because the only thing that we really saw was Canadian making a great effort here, finding not just 1, but almost 2 kills. I mean, he put Spirit solo and health at the impact grenade that comes flying right here, boop, takes him out during the plan. So even if the cover was semi-successful, the impact still denies the plant, the time will hit 0, and DC basically secured the round with that. We'll go into a short tech pause though, before we get back into the action. Just make sure everything works and everything is up to speed. Shouldn't take too long. Hopefully.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yes.
There have been 0 days without tomfoolery. What a story it would be for Wildcard to qualify with Bolo in this very pivotal match. There he is. Oh my god, when does he play? Right
When
now.
does Bolo play? It's always nice seeing, old members back in action, whether it's a former player joining the talent side for like a singular event or play a day, or whether it's a player returning for a singular match despite poor circumstances. Or a player who retired, then comes back, then retires and comes back. You know, we've seen those a couple times. A little dip in, dip out. It is hard to leave playing behind once you do it, and I think a lot of, when you think about regular sports, you know, you grow up playing, you know, soccer, football, basketball, whichever sport really, and you do it from a very young age typically, and then you retire at, you know, mid, late 20s, early 30s, whichever, and it's such a big change in your everyday life because all you knew was the game. You practiced, your life was centered around it, your plans in the weekend, the weekdays, etc. Always around the game. The same with playing. It sounds simple, but it's a video game, yes. But if you've been a Siege Pro player since you were 18, and you fast forward like 7 years, 6 years, etc., you've known nothing in your adult life than playing Rainbow Six Siege. And all your plans, your celebrations, your birthdays, your travel, etc., your friends, your relationships, all planned around it. And then one day it's just gone if you choose to retire or you get benched or whatever happens. So I can assure that somebody like Bolo, Jason, as we call him his real name,
10 seconds to insertion.
is very happy that he gets to just kind of dip in, I imagine. You know, just be in that position like one more time. You know, for him, this is not like a super high stakes match. Yes, if the wildcard win, they go to nature. That is a big deal. But for him as an individual, this is just because to dip his toes back in the water and enjoy that ocean waves, so to speak.
Not a day goes by that I don't see a new TikTok/Reel/YouTube short from Bolo. I do not tick, nor do I. Well, I guess I talk. Not spelled the same way. But I mean, I was actually talking to Lynx about this last night. Lynx has been doing a TikTok every day, and even Jesse Chick's been getting in on it as well. I don't know if you saw Jesse Chick got like 250 or like 300K views or something like that. That's
I
very
saw
impressive.
he popped off.
That's the most. I bet it's the most important he's probably ever felt. I was talking to Lynx about this last night, and Lynx basically said, like, I have no idea how people do like 2 to 3 TikToks a day. As somebody who's never made a TikTok, I can't speak from experience. I don't know if you do, if you use the platform, but oh my, hold on a second, hold on.
Oh boy.
Is he
Oh, boy.
who runs straight into the wall? Well, I mean, the Blitz is a fantastic showing. That was true comedy. Great spectating, by the way, medics.
It's the good old they go Oryx, so we go Blitz instead of Monty because you can just move around a little bit more, and that maneuverability paid off for Spirits. Pambasu, of course, is often gonna find himself in those opening duels, but in the last few maps yesterday, as well as right now, finding himself on the wrong side of those. Down 1-4 right now, but the intel game from DC always on point. Easy yellow ping and pre-fire from Canadian that gets Adam cleared out of lobby. And DC with those 2 picks now in a stable position on this bomb side, but Buck is still destroying the floor from up above.
Canadian will hear that phone call ring in his back pocket and drop away as he now retreats downstairs. Just a minute to go. It's a rare advantage for DarkZero. Now it might continue to grow as Spirits doesn't have the Monty, swapping it up and going with the Blitz instead. Surf and Packer last 2, but Gavin is holding court on the stairs. Goodbye to Packer. Now it's Surf to drop into the elevator. He's got first floor and 35 seconds to go, but no access to the diffuser. He also doesn't know that Rice is playing on main floor, not too far off. Rice still searching for kill number 1, but why not? Wait. Be patient. Surf will vault on over, but he's going to go through the other door. Ever closer to the bomb site. Stellar's Archives site merging twice. There goes Surf with the diffuser in hand. Falling off. Rice into action, but Gavin has a great round. Was that 3 kills for Gavin?
Yeah.
2 at least, maybe 3. Math is sometimes challenging. 2 rounds in a row for DarkZero.
Surprised went back to that Telesaka's bomb set because last time it really didn't look all that good for them, but again, it comes down to those engagements off the site itself when they extend to open area, up top floors, CEO, janitors, stockroom, etc. And this time it was a job well done. Gavin found those picks and immediately ran back towards the bomb site and played it safe. Canadian, we saw him shut down Adam instead of Lobby. All of a sudden, with those simple picks, it pays off, but right there, right into the wall, Pampas goes. He gets blinded shortly after, and of course, can't quite fight back. And Spirit's really struggling with these impact grenades. It's also Gavin both times, I believe. being on the throwing side with those. And yeah, triple kill was. Math was good. Math was right. Downstairs again for DarkZero. They've gone Tellers, basement open, Tellers, basement, and small changes here. Gavin just sitting nice and snug inside of this vault room. Gold bars, etc. Just waiting.
5 seconds to
Drone phase to end, so he can sprint towards the hatch and throw down those kite claws. Basically hiding the fact that this operator has presence in this round. And he does that because the attacker sees a Kaidi, they're gonna pick either Thatcher or secondary MPs. And if we look towards Wildcard's attack and lineup, they do have Dokkaebi. And Dokkaebi does have those secondary MPs available if she chooses to. But the thing is, if there's no Kaid, why would you play EMPs when you got flashbangs? DarkZero, they get rewarded for that smart bit of action downstairs, and no EMPs for the attack inside. Those hatches are going to be near impossible to open up now.
Spirits is in! I like the operators he's played so far. Monty, Blitz. Or Monty, Blitz. Amaru. That's the stuff that if I'm playing ranked, keeps me up at night.
Swapping mags!
Pambazoo with that super shorty eliminating Packer. Spirits gives his position away in small office. Still there, just steps away from open area. One player it looked like of DZ, was that Rice? That was there? No. I saw Rice's silhouette, but it's, yeah. That's what confused me. He was floor down. Canadian roaming above on this Solus, a very favorite operator for him. He's able to help facilitate whatever defense he needs from off-site while also wasting time, and he's on a collision course with Bolo again. He'll get picked off from Banana. So Adam and Bolo clear the top floor together, and now Wildcard have done their due diligence. They will know that they've got full control of the top floor. What about the middle floor? And then again, translating to the basement, it would appear that all clear for DarkZero players on the main floor. And as we can see from this overhead view, once again, provided by our observer medics, you can see that all 4 remaining players from DZ are nestled either in the site or around the site. Spirit saw that Q9 too and tried to stop himself.
Unlucky. But again, the kite claws right in action. The lobby hatch for backside drop, and of course the A hatch itself. Very important hatches for both the backstab and the mid execute. It's gonna make the attack a lot more difficult here for Wildcard. They gotta, scramble inside, try and play for kills, or try and just play, I guess, a more risky round. Planning seems very impossible for them right now. They got time to work with, but again, those Goyo canisters also still popping. The ash charge from Bolo will not clear out the kite claw, surprisingly enough. That means NGR will be safe inside the A-bomb site. Toss out those toxic babes, stall for more time, so does the fire. And meanwhile, Rise also finds a kill.
It'll be Bolo to charge in that main door as the diffuser walked in towards lockers. So this will be a drop through the hatch for Adam. Bolo sprinting in, trying for the kill. He knew he had to play it out. Wouldn't work. Spirits, how does he survive that? He gets the down, cannot secure. Adam twisting and turning by the elevators. He's last alive in the site.
5 seconds remaining.
Gavin with the down, still bleeding out. But Pambazoo with 2 super shorty kills in 1 round. You don't usually see 1, let alone 2. DZ putting in some good work. 3 rounds in a row for them now. They've blunted this early momentum of Wildcard, and DZ take the lead.
I've been thinking about something. Now that I've been watching DC play today and yesterday as well, I always wonder, do you think Pambazoo would benefit from getting a haircut? Because how does he see through? Look at this. How does he see? They're definitely covering some of his vision. There's no way. I
mean, you're talking to a guy who has very similar hair to him.
But your hair is usually up and back. No.
Yeah, well, because if I tried to look like that on a broadcast, people would think I was a Muppet. So instead, my hair is usually pinned back, or now it's long enough that I can put it in not necessarily a man bun, but sort of like
a man bun. Yep.
All right.
Definitely a man bun. I don't know. I mean, there's I believe Pamba is an anime enjoyer. Not gonna, no shame there. I personally don't dabble, but no shame. No. I apologize on behalf of my co-caster. That's not okay. Okay, no shaming.
5 seconds left.
But they believe in the hair and the.
Do it. Say the word.
Anime.
Heading out to defuse a bomb.
It's just a trigger thing. I'm sorry, guys. This just happens.
It's just I hear the word and it's just like this visceral feeling in my stomach. prompts a dry heap. I don't know. I can't.
But there's this hair thing, right? Where it's you grow it out certain length, you're gonna go Super Saiyan mode, right? You're gonna be popping off. Well, I think Bamboozle can see
That's a Dragon Ball Z thing, man.
Which is also...
I know it is. I don't say the word. I know it is. But I make an exception for it, okay? I will watch the original Pokemon. If I'm feeling nostalgic, maybe I'll throw on some of the original Digimon, and I'll watch Dragon Ball Z. And that's where I draw the line, okay?
Okay, you make the rules right here. Fair.
I do, well, I mean, I make the rules on my own life. I'd hope that most people do. Maybe Pambazoo gets stronger with longer hair. Maybe you're right. Who knows?
I mean, it looks like it. He was heating up, had a great stage so far as well. Definitely one of those MVP players off stage 2 in North America. Right now he's equal though, 4-4, and it's Spirits once again always leading the charge here, looking for the opening kill, and this time Pambazoo actually gets away, but barely.
The first time that we see an actual bona fide rifle in the hands of Spirits. He had the shotgun on Amaru last round, and then of course was riding out the shield operators prior to that. But doesn't find anything for it. If you remember, Spirits and Pambazoo came to blows just a couple rounds ago, where Pambazoo ran into the wall when he got flashed by the Blitz in one of the funnier exchanges that we have seen at this level. It's a bit of a slower round by Wildcard standards, by the way. They try to tackle this open area defense set up by DZ. This is the final defense for DarkZero, and they will have not defended that top floor bomb site, which is a bit interesting by my counts. And I use the word interesting because it can mean a lot of things, and I never get pinned down. I wonder what it means to you that they didn't go upstairs.
I'm surprised as well. I mean, DC, to be fair, they do like to play the map more, and when you defend that top floor bomb site, you're kind of stuck in corners. We see Canadian like always running around the map. That doesn't really happen at top floor bomb site. Canadian somehow got away. Spirits of Sledge opened up the floor around him constantly throughout that Taylor's Archives portion of the map. Canadian just kind of walks out, doesn't even look at the ceiling, doesn't care whatsoever. These X-Kairos, if positioned correctly, I would say, will destroy the Kai Claw downstairs, and there, they get it. Second set, of course, will get the hatch, and Wildcard then have a way in towards the bomb side, but with no smoke grenades to assist them, and no nades left in Spirit's pocket, getting the diffuser down and getting that initial entry and foothold might prove difficult. See, Wildcard, they know that the rumors of DarkZero downstairs as well, so they kind of watch those flanks on all the staircases.
15 seconds to go.
Everybody's still alive, and there's 15 seconds left in the round. Adam will drop. Obscured, nearsighted, but not before he can take out Pambazoo. Bolo in and doing Bolo things. But Canadian is there to shut down the defuse plant. A second attempt by Adam, and Canadian is down in the basement, and that lean back is all that we need to know. Another flawless round for Wildcard as they send us through the first half. Wildcard, their last 2 rounds, both won flawlessly. However, that first flawless round came all the way back in round number 2. They let DZ hold the lead for a single round, and now we emerge from the first half tied at 3 apiece. DarkZero moving to attack. Wildcard will now try their hand at defense.
I mean, it was so close there for Troy and DarkZero, right? About 2.5 seconds left in the timer, and I was keeping track of, you know, how much further Troy could have waited before popping that yokai, and he only had about another second to spare, so he pretty much min-maxed it to near perfection, and ultimately, it wouldn't have, you know, changed the outcome of that round. Yeah, it's a 5v5 execute, but DarkZero are mostly playing off the bomb side. Server stairs, main stairs, Canadian, of course, on those staircases in the basement of all places, very far off the side itself. The second that Wildcard they drop the hatch and don't really die or take any damage in the process, it's usually a really good sign for the attack inside. Because getting in is the hard part. Once you're in it, you're okay. Defenders gotta walk into your angles all of a sudden. You're forcing down that diffuser like we just witnessed. So the first half, DC, they picked the map. That means that Wildcard, they chose the starting side. So, of course, you have to assume here that attack is where you want to be. That's what Wildcard chose, and DarkZero, they're not sloppy out on their attack usually. They got it all figured out. They love their intel, and lately, we just tend to see a lot of shield play in general. The last 2 NL play days, the Monty and Blitz play rate skyrocketing from most of the teams that we've seen present. It was Spirits on Wildcard's side in the very first round. Gavin will also try his turn with the Blitz.
So that's what? 5 rounds of 7. Technically, we're not finished the 7th yet, but this is the 5th round that we are seeing a shield operator emerge.
4th, right? Amaru and Sledge. 5, 6, and then 7. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I thought Denmark was supposed to have a good education system. If you were,
See,
say, an
I didn't
American, I
attend
could have
it.
understood your lack of understanding of math, but...
I didn't attend it. I dropped out. But I also found the error myself and corrected it. That must count for something.
That is true. I'm very impressed with that. And now Gavin will send the smoke running for the hills. Adam doesn't want any of that. Oh, I could have said doesn't want any of that smoke. Man.
Oh, man.
Blew it!
Lost opportunity.
I know.
Bit of
Get
a
it back.
decision there from Adam. You know, do you stick around, risk the life of the valuable smoke and those toxic babes, or do you just simply run, right? Dying early in the round with smoke is not where you want to be on the basement defense. You're a very, very valuable operator to the team. You still got the roaming presence as well from Wildcard, so DarkZero, they're gonna have to fight multiple things here, both horizontally and vertically, unless they choose to go for the roam clear. That's normally what Blitz provides you. You know, you can actually go and find those roamers, take them out, etc. You have a way in. But half the round burnt, more than that actually. DC, they're rotating. Gavin was in the basement, then he was inside a square, and now he's running towards the lobby. So they might try and actually either distract some of the roamers from the defending side, or simply just try and go for a chaotic backside hash. I'm not sure what Gavin is onto here.
Yeah, not entirely certain. DZ will be slower on attack than Wildcard. I think that's a given. But Rice gets a relatively free kill as Surf peeks through the doorway, gets smoked. That is not the Teller's Archives bomb site, though those are the two places where we saw DZ go to defend twice. Wildcard still controlling open area. It'll be a challenge, not impossible, but will be a challenge to take that bottom floor bomb site without conceding open area. Canadian is amidst the smoke, and he's just going to suffer through it.
Troy? What?
I wonder if maybe on his screen it was not visible, but it was very steadily ticking away at his HP. Now Bolo drops. He's punished for it. Not finished off yet, though. Hacker will have to deal with the blitz. It's NJR in a 1v1. He drops, he sees him, but it's Packer to win. Hard pressed to beat a Vector at such short range. Wildcard take their 4th round, and they take the lead with it.
There are so many times in the last like 24 hours where NTR is just, he's in these like 1v1s and 1v2s, and he's so close every single time. A big difference here for DarkZero is that typically NTR, he wins those. This time around, he does not. A valuable effort from Gavin though in the blitz, finding both the opening kill and the follow-up kill and the side kill, and just getting so much work done all across the map. And yeah, DC running low on time, but the big puzzling play that we witnessed was Troy staking the plant inside the smoke. If you're about halfway through and the toxic babe starts hitting you, you'll be okay. But if you're about half health and you just started planting, you're not gonna make it. Like, there's just no statistical way that that's gonna be the case. Even if you had a finger, it wouldn't matter, because finger will heal you up, but you also take more damage from the toxic babe per tick afterwards. And then, not only that, but, you know, Wildcard, they kind of overkilled it because they also tossed out a C4. They themselves thought the smoke canister missed onto Troy because he stuck the plant. Bit of a confusion there, but could be many reasons for it. Not paying attention, not seeing the visual animation, or not paying, you know, just not seeing your health bar. So many things can happen there for Troy's side, but oh boy, he didn't even leave the spawn.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
That's not good.
That's, you know, that's one of those, like, if you're playing ranked, you're leaving the game, you're closing it down, turning off your PC, and you're just not gonna bother with this anymore today. Cause that sucks. Like 5 seconds of the round, you just die. You're a Thatcher, you know, highly valuable operator. The good thing is, as the IGL leader of the team for DarkZero, Troy can now IGL better, right? He has all the point of views, has all those cams, the entry drones, the flank drones, etc. But they are down a player, and that's never good. Did see Bravo hack one of those Maestro cameras inside the bomb site, forcing out an impact grenade from defense to take it out. Smart choice. But DC are gonna need to find an advantage earlier than previous round. Can't wait till the very last dire seconds here. They're gonna need to find something to even back the score. So Wildcard do that 5 versus 5 execute. Try and do it 4 versus 5. You'll be surprised just how much more difficult that is.
No Thatcher, no team leader. There's a nice nade, but Bolo sees the indicator and manages to dodge around it. But That's all he's gonna get. Dies inside of Archives to Gavin as Gavin searches for yet another kill. I guess the Thatcher not really that necessary if you're not bringing any denial on the panel walls leading into break room. You see the Selmas start to tear that open. Ambazoo waiting for the call to go on in. Also back up on the Brava drones. So if you need the Kludge to go in and maybe take any denial that could be on the board, as you can see from the right-hand side, there is no denial brought whatsoever. So in some ways, maybe you could consider the EMP to be a suboptimal pick, but I don't think DZ would think that, or else they wouldn't have brought it. Gavin punished inside of Archives because Surf is playing above. Gavin, the most kills in this lobby, tied with Spirits at 8. Most kills on his team, technically. You don't have that coverage that you need. Now Rice will just go in and start the plant in relatively safe position. If there's no gas canisters or nitro cells to stop him, you don't really have an option to shut him down. And look at Pambazoo quarterbacking the post plant. Spirits activating the smart goggles. He and Adam playing side by side inside of open area. Far enough removed from where that diffuser is, but Spirits creeps up on that position. Down goes Pambazoo. NJR will need to sneak in. Does he have an avenue? Neither of these players from Wildcard on the diffuser just yet. NJR will look for the one player. A nice shot onto Spirits. And now Adam needs to take the engagement. He cannot afford to go onto that diffuser or he'll be picked off the exact same way. Draws the attention of NJR, finds him and gets the kill. Can he get back in time? He's got 3 seconds. All he needs to do is hit 7. Ooh. Oh my God, it's gonna be a photo finish. Does he get it in time?
He's got it.
The skin of his teeth! Wildcard grabbed the diffuser!
Remember that thing where I said NGR? He finds himself in those positions and they're so close and usually he wins out? Well, it happened again. Back-to-back rounds. We're talking, what, 0.38 seconds left? I mean, so, fun fact, when you swap out your when you have your pistol in your hand in Siege, you actually run a little bit faster. But you also can't sprint while swapping weapons. So this is like, when you go a certain distance, it's always gonna be quicker with the pistol versus not. This single fact that he actually went for the pistol immediately to then sprint all the way in, likely was the difference maker in that round to make it in time or not. Split-second decision making from Adam. Yesterday, he was gunning it out, getting so many kills. Today, well, he's still gunning, also making those excellent split-second decisions and clutching out for his team once more. DC take their tactical timeout. That's gotta hurt. That's really, really gotta hurt, especially if you're NJR.
The amount of times I have seen NJR almost celebrate, but then to throw his head back in frustration over the last day and a half. He's much higher than I thought it would be. I think it's like 4 or 5, which isn't a very high number in and of itself, but it's strange it happened that many times. It just goes to show you how scrappy DZ are in the final moments of a round. Adam is just on something. The buff that he had yesterday obviously has not worn off. I mean, he does it with only 6 kills to his name, but these are 6 impactful kills. I think it's always important to highlight the fact that you might have, say, for Spirits, you might have 10 kills. Yeah, Spirits have all been very important kills as well, but if you find yourself, in 2 1v5s and you get 3 kills both times, you're going to have 6 kills. But guess what? They're completely impactless. They had no bearing on the round whatsoever.
5 seconds left.
Not the case for Adam.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
This is DZ's map, by the way, and Wildcard are showing that after the way that they played yesterday here against M80, I imagine that for DarkZero, it's a good DZ map, but also you've got a VOD to review of the way that they played against M80, and you can potentially play around that. I don't think DarkZero would be very successful if that was their goal.
Not just that, but DC played Wildcard during stage 2, when they first squared off, and that was a 7-1 victory in favor of DC. I mean, it was an extremely one-sided matchup. Of course, if something's very one-sided, odds are that the team who lost had a bad day, team who won had a good day, because there isn't that big of a skill disparity between teams right now in Siege for the most part. This is definitely a different look at that. Frustration for sure for DC, and they're gonna try and figure out the issues right now with that tactical timeout. Canadian onto Monty seems to be the stable go-to whenever they cannot find success. We saw the same from DarkZero yesterday. Lose a couple rounds, struggle on the entry, losing those early engagements. Monty it is. a staple for Canadian, but he's not, again, like your typical Monty player. He plays it solely because the team tends to struggle, more so than playing it as a thing to play around to find success. So this is usually a sign that DC, they don't have any other options left. See what he can do with it. He's up against the goo mines, the impact grenades, the yokais. Loads of ways for him to die and take damage in this round.
And there he goes. He's as good as dead. Packer traded back, so DZ might lose the first pick, but there's no advantage really gained in terms of numbers. You're welcome to talk about whether the Legion is more valuable than a Monty. Now Bolo will die as well, playing on Castle, maybe a more sheltered operator, which stands to reason if he doesn't know the strats. Gavin will find a bunch of goo mines on the way into the Archives bomb site, and now have the diffuser at his disposal, but Spirits is trying to retake. Gavin eliminating Adam, the hero from the previous round. Spirits has an idea, but now so too does DZ, as those logic bombs will allow Gavin to know there's somebody not too far off. A swing through the doorway as NJR punishes Spirits, and now it's Surf from above. Supernova receiving a huge buff with the changes to that shotgun. You add the suppressor to it, and suddenly it can kill enemies with relative ease. Surf, it does have eyes on the diffuser, as you literally hear the game say. That's a bit unfortunate timing on my part, but he now needs to find the two remaining players. Is he be able to pull this one off? He has to head back to the bomb site, gain their attention first. Not expect Gavin to be so close by. Oh! Get down! A bit of a rodeo, no way! Oh my god, if Wildcard had pulled that off. Easy, and a nail biter wins it because of Gavin, who does eat a shotgun blast, but still keeps trucking. The gap closes. Wildcard still in the lead, but only by a single round.
Oh, NGR really typed in chat. That's crazy. I mean, if you're standing that far back, you know, DC were paying the utmost respect, saying, okay, last guy's got a shotgun, don't play close, and it was backs against the wall. And you'll see the replay in a second. That was Rise. Okay, NGR was not full HP. It wasn't all that bad. He was like 45%. But yeah, backs against the wall, as far away as you can be. And again, DC, they almost lose it. Very intense 1v1 once more for them. And they escaped that match point scenario for Wildcard. It's 5-4. Still in favor of the Wildcard side. Of course, DC's map, so not exactly where you want to be. The Monty died really early in the round, and we didn't really get to see exactly what happened, but that tends to be Canadians' way of playing the Monty. He goes in and, you know, they get some map presence and he dies, but they somehow find success around that. It's almost like a distraction game from Canadian. Not sure that's the intended plan, at least, but Gavin, you saw immediately just sprinting towards bomb site, taking that control, try and get something going. They knew that time was low. We gotta see some more value out of Monty this time, because Canadian is bored again.
Oh boy. We'll see what Canadian can accomplish on this operator. Nick, I wasn't very impressed with the Monty in the previous round. Spirits likes this operator quite a lot. And I mean, I don't think there was a single round that went by where Spirits was on the Monty nor the Blitz, and we questioned that decision. Yesterday, both Demo and I were questioning Kino on that Monty, and I think after just a single round, you could say the same about Canadian.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to draw out the Mira playing behind server. There's logic bombs to go. Spirit's taking some damage. Canadian losing half of his HP. I believe that's Packer's Nitro cell that was in that spot. Bolo gets on the board first. Pambazoo answers back by eliminating Spirits. And now Bolo is dead too. DZ looking far more formidable on attack, especially with Gavin continuing to excel on entry. Now Canadian will see Packer aggress towards him in Dirt Tunnel. Pambazoo might have scrambled to try to make something work, but he gets punished by Surf. Adam getting the call towards Square. Surf is the one inside of open area. So DZ will have some struggles as the three remaining players from Wildcard are in open, blue, and server. That means that the bomb site is actually completely open. If Canadian wasn't stranded in Dirt Tunnel, they could scramble and just get into lockers and get the diffuser down. But DZ are stuck at this point. With 1 minute to go, they've now lost Gavin, and Canadian has no escort. He's gonna have to do this himself.
That's the weird part. Most teams, they play around the Monty so heavily, but DC, they leave him alone as, again, like a way to distract the enemy, but it's not working. Canadian suffering damage. Time and time. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's
no.
ugly.
This
Oh,
is so,
no.
This is so disrespectful. Leave him alone.
Got toxic babes. They could totally do it.
There's a shotgun blast waiting at the bottom of blue for NJR. He gets swung on. That's it for him. Canadian inside a dirt tunnel where he spent the entirety of this round. Packer gets it. DZ stuck, literally. Match point for Wildcard on DZ's map.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, let's say that's a typical bank, like, quote-unquote rank game, right? Like, you pick Monty in dirt, and sure enough, like, most defenders are gonna come like, oh my god, Monty in dirt, you know, the entire push is gonna be here, he's gonna have backup, etc. Let's all rotate and deal with that. But this is like some of the highest level of siege you can find. Putting Monty in dirt without anybody droning behind him, no drones inside of server, no utility flying like nades, flashbangs, etc. No shots being fired. You're going to eventually realize that the Monty is alone. And the thing about Monty is that it's not like the Blitz where Monty is actually a threat. The whole threat part about Monty is that he walks in your face, shuffles you around, you feel constantly under pressure because the enemy knows where you're standing. Because Monty works like as a live drone. And that's the problem, right? But when Monty doesn't have anybody playing around him, it's just... This guy's kind of like one big indestructible drone looking at you. You don't really care about that. So that's why most teams, they put the Monty on the entry. You put guns behind them, or you force the defenders to move into their line of sight. You get those free kills. It's not what Canadian opted to do with the Monty, and it very obviously didn't really work. He died the first time as the first member of his team, and it's the very last one that previous round in the very odd spot and was stuck in dirt tunnel the entire round essentially. DC and Canadian will think, yeah, let's not do that again. On Twitch DMR he goes instead. DC might be looking for a quick round here as they're already inside a bottom square. Not exactly going for the bomb site, but the rooms next to it that tell us archives portion of the map. So important.
Hammers do the leadoff pick, and it's on to Bolo. An impressive 6-7 record for Bolo in this match. For somebody who hasn't played a game in... what, it's been over a year at this point, wouldn't it have been? Or closing in on a year? Very
I'll pull my base demo and say I'll figure that out. January 28th.
January 28th was Bolo's last game, is that correct?
That's when he announced retirement.
Ah, right. So they did not end up competing at SI, right?
No, they did not.
There you go. Hacker will die as well. DarkZero fighting for their lives. The only way they win on their own map is through overtime. That means it will be a harrowing journey to get there for them, but I said it yesterday. I'll say it again today. DZ must hate their fans because it is not easy being a fan of DZ. I think you're definitely competing with Team Liquid to be one of the most abused fan bases in the entire game. Out Spirits to die over from that printer window. Canadian slaughtering him after getting a Twitch drone into a very good position inside a break room. Also eliminating the yokai. So you've got information, you've taken a piece of utility away, and there you go. Canadian on that drone, giving information. They can hear the phone calls as well from the Dokkaebi. Smoke's tossed out to cut off a line of sight. And now Canadian is looking to see if there's an answer back. He assesses there is, and he baits Surf right into it. Gavin licking his chops. Now it's Adam to try and keep the round intact, but can't do it. Flawlessly done by DZ. They pick up their 5th round. We're going to need all 12 between these two teams.
Such one-sided rounds from both teams where DC, they can't figure out their problems at all. They have a big struggle. And then all of a sudden, it's just a flawless. They get the opening kill, they want to follow it up, they get great sight in towards the bomb side, and nobody from Wildcard in a position to really do anything about it. And that's the thing, the opening kill seems to have a very big part in who takes these round victories, which isn't all that uncommon. And it has been Wildcard leading more often than not, especially in that first half. Defending on Bang proving to be quite difficult as both teams are struggling more on that side than that of the attack.
My. Timeout now taken by Wildcard. They are on the ropes. What a storyline this would be for Wildcard. Not just to take map 1, but if we continue onwards, to go to Oregon and take their map as well. Worst circumstances that are possible for Merc's family striking yesterday, and now Bolo is subbing in on last minute's notice. Got to imagine that as much as he's friends with people on the team, that his familiarity with the Wildcard strategy and what they want to do on attack and defense is probably next to none. So for him to come in and assume the position that he is, playing under the circumstances in which he finds himself,
Location of a bomb.
the fact that Wildcard have not completely imploded, not just speaks to the testament of Bolo, but more importantly, it speaks to the rest of the team. I try not to trawl social media too much for the way that they think about things because it makes my brain drip out of my ears. But last night, there was a post on the subreddit about this matchup. One of the commentators said something along the lines of, I'm really excited to see where Wildcard goes because they have a really good core. And it's something that I genuinely agree with.
10 seconds left.
If you look at the lineup for Wildcard, the term that we've used to describe teams like this in the past was, like the island of misfit toys. You take a bunch of players who got removed from their teams and have now been reassembled to find a new home. And they're all very talented players for a variety of reasons. They might not be competing the way that they were. You elevate Adam to this level. Most people will know him as Traw. And then you get some veteran players on the team. And suddenly, Wildcard are playing incredible Siege, given how little experience they have, The fact that they're competing for a major spot in and of itself, impressive. And now that they are doing so again under the circumstances of losing Merc and having Bolo step in, that is a huge loss. And Wildcard's recovery has not just been graceful, but a huge success. They could presumably win this round and then go to Oregon up 1-0 with their map in back pocket. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, though, because there is still a round to play. There's been about 45 seconds so far where we've seen utility work go. This is another open area defense. This is where Wildcard was last time.
Go back to the same side after losing, flawlessly, then you're gonna say, what, something happened that really shouldn't have happened. And those two early devs that Wildcard suffered, that might just be it. DC just ran into bottom square, they shut down Bolo inside that Telos Archives area, and that was really it. They get so much control of that middle section of the map, and it's so vital to hold on to as the defending team. Looking much better for Wildcard, though. DC back into their little bit more slow and steady pace here. Slow is fast and fast is slow, is what they say. Intel is still very much required for DarkZero. They have so many drones alive, still 8 up. So Wildcard, they haven't found him despite playing Solus. That's Surf. He's not top side of the map instead of meeting, so he's not in the right position to find those drones. Can't do anything about it. Opening kills will be very important here for both teams. Good nade
This has been quite the matchup so far, and we're only a single map in. The stakes as high as they are. You're seeing incredible attacks from both teams. You're seeing stalwart defenses. Though Adam is far below the numbers that he found himself yesterday on that do-or-die matchup of Border, he has still been an incredibly vital member of this team. He looked like he would be the first line of defense upstairs, but for now, DarkZero will leave him be. Instead, the focus was on the open area bomb site. Surf is there for backup. He's got intel too, and he can tell Adam exactly where DZ is coming from and when. Wildcard, Adam in particular, finding 2, but wait a moment, DarkZero's flipped the script. They find 3 kills. Adam still standing. Phone ringing away. It might leave Bolo in a 1v3. He's down below an open area. Adam covering from above, but the diffuser will go down. Adam popping up, trying desperately to outduel, and he gets the down onto DZ's player of Rice. Bolo is gone. Adam will drop. He's got 2 kills so far. A third could be confirmed if Rice bleeds out. 2 more await Adam. He clutched on this site before. Lightning doesn't often strike twice. Will it here? Is there a storm brewing for DarkZero? They're waiting. Patiently, NJR is on drone. Spotting Adam. He takes the swing. Canadian pops up, and DZ hangs on. Overtime we go.
All the way. And it comes down to those very small gunfights where Bolo was vaulting the desk on the side trying to find Canada in the midst of the smoke. And had he found him, all of a sudden Wildcard, they probably went out in that round. But the cover from DarkZero, the smoke was tossed perfectly to shroud exactly where the plan was going down. And again, the second Wildcard they lose control of Archives Tillers, things just fall apart from them. Adam found 2 huge picks early in the round, but that was really it. Surf kind of overstepped his welcome, and he was inside of Janitors in a stable position, dropped into CEO and lost that gunfight. I do think that the Solas has to go into a more proactive player from the defensive side, because the benefit of Solas, you can find those cameras, shut down the intrusion, shut down the intel. And DarkZero, they rely on those drones so heavily. But Solas is in a anchor position, not supposed to move, and always play in that same position. You want to be able to have the freedom to move around, or at the very least, be in range of those drones and say, hey guys, there's a drone over here. So even if you can't deal with it as the Solas player, at least you can communicate with your teammates so that they can deal with it themselves. I like seeing this more practice setup from Wildcard. Gonna go down to that basement bomb side, but with a heavy roam. Sometimes we see teams do like a soft roam, where you just have like 1 or 2 guys in the open area, you fall back the second the enemies, you know, they're near you. You have like the fake roam, where you just kind of run up a staircase so that drone sees you, you run back down, and then they realize you're not roaming at all, and you buy like 10 seconds, that's it. And then you have this kind of roam, where you're putting up castle barricades, you got mirror windows if you want to use them, you got the Solas for drone intel. All of a sudden, DC, they got problems to deal with. They got the Nuke and the Monty, as well as the Dokkaebi. That trio, that's to deal with the roam, try and find those picks. We've seen hot and cold so many times find success with that operator. It's one of the only players in North America to bring it out. Gavin, he's done a good job at flexing so far this stage. Happy to see more stuff from him like the Nuke.
Shield operators will come. You can't stop them. Can't ban them. Well, I guess you could ban them. But instead it was the Ying and Flores that took up the Shield attacker bans, so that will allow both of these teams to run as many Monties or Blitzes as they so choose. Osa is also a shield operator that we see her used differently from time to time. Spirits, right now, inside of Tellers. Guns down Pambazoo, that is the ace. That's the only hard breacher for DarkZero, and they now need to pull off a locker CCTV execute without any hard destruction at all.
That's tough. I mean, the good news is, if you roam clear, all the hatches are soft. The bad news is, the sidewalls inside from server, where Canadian currently is, well, the one of them, it is reinforced. So there are options here for DarkZero. They're not entirely locked down, because it's not that turtle defense that they could have opted for on Wildcard's side. But as long as they got the hatch control, as long as the roam is alive, it's going to be very difficult to plant, even with the Monty. Gavin and Nuke inside the garage is kind of stuck. It's not this easy. There is no way. No.
Come on. There goes the gas canister. Canadian had no HP left to survive that, and Surf finishes him off too. It looked like it was that easy, but you know what? It's like they say, if it seems that easy, it's probably not. Nades now from Gavin inside a garage as NJR just walks through the main floor, but he's got the attention of Surf, who also needs to be wary of the Monty down below. In comes the Dokkaebi of NJR. Surf gets the pick. He could drop at any point. Down goes the Nitro cell. Does damage to Rice, but now Gavin will need to flush these players out. Wildcard doubling up in numbers. Gavin spotted on main stairs. Rice alone. He's sent away by Adam. Wildcard on match point.
It's a great choice of a defense. When you go into OT, I was gonna wonder, which side do we go to? You know, do we surprise them, stay with the good old stable? Do we just show them what we already given them before? But they go for that basement roam, an excellent choice, and to make that cherry on top, they find the only hard breacher as they open and kill as well. DarkZero, they have historically been known as a team that's great at the strategical side of the game, problem solving, playing the game in like a very set way on attack, but they never really run out of options or solutions. Lately, you know, with the meta shift being on that more like, you know, gun-oriented kind of side of Siege, going for those kills and playing more together, DC has also kind of upped away from that very strict style of Siege where they always have the same guy in the same spot during the same area. They too are more flexible now. The downside for DarkZero, though, is that it seems like they're not as good as actually problem solving. They have like their initial plan going to a round, and then if they lose, you know, that vital part, it could be the Monty the last round, it could have been the Hard Breacher, for example. They don't seem to know exactly what to do after that. They plan for the ideal outcome, but the issue is, in this current meta now more than ever, you can't really rely on that ideal scenario to happen. It's great if it does, and it's a really quote-unquote easy round to win for you because you had it all planned out, but so many times the players die early to either gadgetry, utility, or a defender or attacker just running out the building saying, I'm going to look for this kill and just get it. And with how active Wildcard they are on the map when they're defending, you're never really gonna have a good time on attack against them. And this is especially true, you know, before Bolo was subbed in, when Merc was the IGL, because the way that Merc, you know, he works, like we saw in TSM with that incredible invitational run that they had, he likes to just get face first in the building as quickly as possible and just get that map presence. Wildcard, they very much live by that same philosophy. On defense, they're proactive. On attack, they're quick on their entries, much quicker than DarkZero, for example. Sides have swapped. Wildcard, they're on attack on what could be their final round here to find the victory that they need.
This certainly isn't where DarkZero saw themselves, and I got to imagine there's a part of Wildcard that probably didn't see themselves here as well, but they have looked like a mighty good team all stage, one of the best in the entire region. That's why they are competing now, and despite the struggles they had yesterday, well, today's a new day. Down goes Canadian, and then Polo drops to Rice. Gavin trades right back on the Spirits. So Wildcard lose 2. Gavin dropped. Why? Because Surf is still upstairs inside of Conference. They have not been able to flush him out. And as he sees Tracers go through the wall, Surf knows there's another player from DarkZero nearby. Another trophy for the wall of Wildcard. Bambazoo, NJR, Rice, now back down in the bomb site, so they've been able to get to safety. As the soft destruction and hard destruction on that top floor begins. The pacing set by Wildcard significantly faster than almost any of DZ's attacks. You pointed that out, and anybody who's watched DarkZero this stage knows how slow they can be, much to their detriment on a number of rounds. This time, the pacing is not theirs to set, it's Wildcard's. And with a 3v3, I'd be happy with the position that DarkZero finds themselves in. The Wildcard will have to move quickly to get all of their ducks in order.
Yeah, I think both teams are actually pretty happy in a 3v3 because, you know, you have enough attackers left to actually do something, but as does the defense. The big thing here is time. With the Vulcan canisters from Goyo up and alive, with 3 toxic babes from NJR, if Wildcard want to go for an easy plan solution, well, they're going to get stalled out for the remainder of this round. It's just not going to be possible. They have to go for kills or at least get inside either the A or the B bomb site. Deep inside the bomb site, right, that is. No default plans what's happening here. DC, they know this. They're playing far back, expecting those hat drops, and I think Adam inside of Garage is going to have to be the playmaker here for Wildcard.
Service dropped. He's got a line of sight.
15 seconds to go.
Looking towards red. Flash goes out by Packer. He cannot get buried in his position, but he does. Adam holds diffuser, though. He's in lockers, taken down by the Legion of Pambazoo. Now it's Surf to try to clutch. He finds 3, but vulnerable on the vault over, and DZ takes advantage of that. All 15 rounds needed between these two juggernauts.
Question is, where would you rather be here? Would you rather be on the defense or the attack? Because these rounds are so back and forth. And I really think it comes down to what bomb sites you have open up and available to you on the defense. Both teams in overtime opted to go basement. That's obviously locked in because they are both successful at defending it. Wildcard, this will be, you know, the final round of this game. There is no more rounds after this. You get 3 bomb site options. You got that Telos Archives that they're shown but lost on. They got open area, or they got that top floor of CEO that we really haven't seen being played, which normally is the case. This time is not. So we've had a great entry in that round, found those 2 picks, but DC, they've been fighting back. That's been their big adaptation on their defensive side. They're not just solo roaming, dying, and then nothing comes out of it. No, whenever somebody dies, there's usually a member nearby to trade back the numbers or try to find an opening elsewhere so that Wildcard can just run away with the round. They chose open area. They chose Bandit of all operators. We don't see any Bandit in action typically. We got a stat or a question for you, chat. Who's taking this map? Type 1 for DC, press 2 for Wildcard. Final round right here. I heard you, when you were casting a demo yesterday, Parker, you were talking about like putting up the bets and stuff. And yeah, well, you can't bet in this game right now. Those of you that did, about what, an hour ago or so, 50 minutes ago, some of you are going to be mighty richer with the in-game or the chat points. Some of you will be mighty poor, because win 1 round in just 2.5 minutes, we'll have a decided outcome for the first map at least.
I have thoughts on gambling. I don't feel like sharing.
It's not about politics, Parker, okay? It's about
If
channel
the
points.
people would like to gamble, I am not one to judge. I think that there's very low stakes for typing 1 or 2 in the chat. And I don't think that's a gamble. It's not like you're going to lose anything if you get it wrong.
Your pride.
Oh, for goodness sakes. If your pride is hurt by typing the wrong number in a Twitch chat, I beg you to go outside and touch some grass. I lost sleep. Honey, you haven't slept for days. Why?
I typed 2 for Wildcard when I should have typed 1 for DC.
Searching for electronics.
I'm breaking up.
Harsh reality. Breakups happening right now. Oh boy. Well.
Oh, that was me continuing onwards with the whole like, why are you
Yeah,
crying, honey?
honey.
I'm breaking up with you.
That's so
Half of the
harsh,
round
man.
already gone. DZ, not lethargic on this round. They're very active, even though it doesn't look like they're doing much, but they've already worked quite hard to clear out that top floor. You can see all these silhouettes. All 5 players of Wildcard visible, 2 on the bottom floor, 3 on the main. Means that the playground of that top floor will be DarkZero's. Get some soft destruction over open area. That stock trading portion of the map. I imagine there's 1 of 2 ways that this bomb site is going to go. You're either going to go for the default take inside of B, which is to go behind the counter in staff area and break room, or you're going to drop the hatch and try to plant behind the cubicle. I think it really just comes down to whether DZ can get an early pick, but more importantly, whether they feel like there's a safer avenue to go with. Shake Packer off of his position on A. Down goes Rice. No could be no more. Packer dies. It didn't look like there was coverage over by that hatch, so DZ could conceivably go for a drop, but the remainder of the bandit needs to be found first. DZ
be a
definitely
drop for
stacking
sure.
up for this A drop with 30 seconds left. There goes Canadian. He survives it. They've at least drawn out the attention. Pambazoo not good enough on the coverage, but down goes Packer. Gavin traded out by Spirits. Wildcard leading the way. Canadian bailing off. Now he'll try again. NJR drops. Every single player at DZ favoring this hatch. Canadian successful in the post plant. Tracers whizzing over the heads of NJR, gunning down Surf. Canadian and him will need to scramble. NJR so good. Spirits to clutch out. Playing inside a copier. Flashed. Activating the goggles at the right time, playing around it. His gadget will be of good use, but NJR gets all 3 kills. DZ survive a scare. No Cinderella story on map 1 for Wildcard. DZ take it 8-7 on their own map. With no further delay, we'll go to a break and come back with what's next for these 2 teams.